listening to the Dr. No Show on WHIT Radio.org.
Good morning, High Tech, AIS, ACT, and CAS Prep. You are listening to the Dr. No Show here at WHIT Radio.org. I am your host, Christina Paula, along with Jennifer Briones, and here with us today, an advisor down at AIS and a part-time teacher down at CAS Prep, Mr. Robert Dillon.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Dillon.
How are you?
We're good.
Okay, so would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. When yes, what would you like to know? My background in school, my background in
let's
career.
Start with that.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about a teacher, and I'll work a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I am a full-time AIS advisor down the hill there, and I'm a part-time CAS Prep English teacher. I've been with Hudson County School of Technology for about 3 years now. Before that, I did some part-time work at West Caldwell High School, English and creative writing and humor writing.
Where's that?
In West Caldwell.
In where?
Essex County, West Caldwell.
Oh, Essex County.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not Hudson County.
And before my teaching career, I was a marketing, communications, and public relations specialist. I worked with in television and with a construction management firm. I worked for USA Network, Sci-Fi Channel, Comedy Central, Oxygen Media, and I've also done PR work for a construction management firm called Skanska, which is one of the largest construction firms in the United States. And I did some PR projects for the Liberty Science Center, the Foxborough Stadium, where the Patriots play, and a lot of pharmaceutical plants and things like that. So I've been around a long time.
You've been very familiar with the broadcasting area, haven't you?
Well, I've worked on the fringes. I was pretty much, when you work in public relations, you touch with everybody. I've worked in the broadcast area, fact-checking. I've worked for Channel 9 News, where I did a lot of writing that went on air, and I did a lot of behind-the-scenes fact-checking.
Have you ever been on the radio, Mr. Dillon?
Not formally. I mean, I've been invited into studios and sat down, but never interviewed. I've sat down many times and watched other people work, and every now and then someone would say, well, what do you think about this? And I'd be that little voice in the background. But that's mostly because the companies I worked for. I have a friend that works at MSNBC, and she would pull me in once in a while. This is going back a long time, and we just talked, but never formally interviewed.
So this would be like your first?
Sort of would be my first interview, yes.
So
yes.
you were the first.
you were the
I'm very
first.
proud of that.
Yes.
Now that's a problem. Dead air. Give me a question. That I've learned.
Oh, well, Mr. Dillon, after those public relations that you've been, well, in the past, how did you get into education?
Education? Pretty, well, it's interesting. I mean, I've always been in education as far. I mean, in college, I would work with some students, and I had a small writing, I guess you would call it seminar. Sometimes I'd help other students. When I was working for a lot of the large firms in PR, I would put seminars on for other employees on how to write letters and things like that. So it was pretty important. But it really wasn't until a few years ago when I was working for the construction firm and doing a lot of work for them. We had what was called a downsizing, which is laid off a lot of people. So I went back to school to get my license, because I'd always thought about teaching would be a great thing to get into. So it just gave me an opportunity to go back and get my license to teach, and that's what I did.
And your first job was at Cass Prep, right?
Well, that was my first like I said, my first full-time job, and I came into the program. If you remember, Dr. Doran. No, you wouldn't. Dr. Doran ran the program back then with Dr. Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
They both hired me. They interviewed me, and that was my first experience to full-time teaching. They said, "Here's your classroom. Go ahead," and that's how I got started.
But you were a little bit nervous, weren't you?
Absolutely. Nervous is easy. I was petrified. I was so scared because to look from that side of the room down at 20-some faces expecting the best from you was pretty difficult. So what I did was I talked to Dr. Colleen. He gave me some help, and I just started learning from other teachers. And you go through lesson plans and things like that.
Okay, so after Cass Prep, you went to AIS straight away?
Well, what happened was during my year at Cass Prep, they started to interview people for this new program, AIS. Which really wasn't called AIS.
What was it called?
Well, it didn't have a name.
Oh. It was just project-based, that's it?
Yeah, they mentioned that it was a project-based school. They wanted to start a project-based school. And I wasn't really sure what project-based was. I had an idea because I've worked on projects all through my life. And they told me about this program and explained what they were trying to do and what they would like to do. So they interviewed a lot of teachers for the program. And we sat down, and I remember there was many of us when they talked about this program. And I guess I showed some excitement, enthusiasm for it because I really thought this is a great way to learn. And this is something that I could really get into. So they talked a little more, and then they offered me the position, and I took it. And that's when we sat down, and actually we had to come up for a name for the program. So
there was no original name.
Well, no. I mean, you got to remember when you start something new, and this is what I love about projects. I dive into them, and I think, well, this is a great way to start something. Now, think about what I'm doing with all the other advisors and teachers down at AIS. We are building a school with the students' help. When does anybody get that opportunity?
Very rare.
I mean, think about it. A learning environment, a community, a small network. This is something that, piqued my interest, and I saw the opportunity. I said, wow, we have a chance to do something really great. And I knew it'd be hard, and it's challenging, and all that stuff goes along with it. But when you see an opportunity, one thing I've learned is that you got to recognize it and then go for it. And that's what I did, and I'm so happy I did.
So would you like to tell us a little more about what project-based learning is?
Yeah, project-based learning is more of a hands-on, learn as you do. You find a subject that you're interested in. Students who may be interested in just about any topic, sports, music, science, whatever, and you focus on that topic, and you start doing the research on it. For example, if you're interested in, say, ballet, right? Ballet dance, you find out what it takes to be a ballet dancer.
We'll be right back. Sorry to cut you off, but we'll be going on a short break, so stay tuned for more of Mr. Dillon and our interview today. And if you have any questions or like to ask any or participate,
when I found out my jeans were made using child labor in sweatshops, I wrote a letter to the company saying, reconsider your labor practices. A few months later, I get a letter back saying, thanks for being a loyal customer, and they included a coupon for a 25% discount on their jeans. So I got smart, wrote letters every day to all the stores that carry the brand, asking them to stop supporting the companies who use child labor in sweatshops. And I just kept getting letters back, thanking me for my concerns, and more coupons for more discounts on more jeans. So I'm telling my friend about it, and she flips out, saying that between all the letters and coupons, some paper company cut down a small forest, driving off 2 indigenous tribes, hundreds of endangered animals, killing thousands of plant species, some of which may have contained vaccines for HIV, cancer, and syphilis. Meanwhile, the guys cutting down the trees are 13-year-old kids who will work night and day for months just to save up enough money to buy a pair of jeans made by child labor in sweatshops.
Saving the world isn't easy, but saving a life is. Just 1 pint of blood can save up to 3 lives. Visit bloodsaves.com to learn more. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ad Council.
So, welcome back. You are listening to the Dr. No Show on WHITradio.org. And if you're just tuning in, we're here with Mr. Dillon, an advisor down at AIS and a part-time teacher at CAS Prep. Yeah.
Well, we talked about how Mr. Dillon worked in the PR business area, yeah, and how he got into teaching. Well, you were saying?
Oh, you were talking about project-based learning and how it's like, you know, your choice and what you want to go into.
Well, it's a little more than that. And I started to use an example of ballet or dance, and if the student's interested in it, what they would do is they dive into it. They would write a paper about it, do some research on it. They'd go and see a ballet. They'd interview a dancer. They may take lessons. They would find everything there is. They'll talk about maybe the science of muscles. So there's a lot of different things involved. So you would get a lot of core curriculum standards through the projects, as opposed to just sitting into 40-minute blocks in a class. So you would really get your hands wrapped around something that the student is very interested in.
So would you say this is a better kind of
Learning,
kind
teaching,
of experience than traditional school, you may say?
Well, I mean, it really depends on the student. When you say one is better than the other, I mean, it's hard to quantify that because students learn differently. But I will tell you this. If you're doing stuff in the classroom all the time, you're not seeing what the practical uses of it is. You really have to get a real-life connection to truly understand. For example, you guys are on the radio here, actually working the radio, talking in the microphones, learning about time, and that's a lot more interesting than, say, maybe doing all the research behind when the radio was started, or the history of the radio, which is all important things. But to tie it all in together is very important. In traditional classrooms, there's never really enough time for that to happen. Some teachers do a great job and make it and have it that way. Other times you're so busy trying to get to the core standards and to cover material that it makes it difficult because of the time constraints. At AIS, we offer one thing that some schools don't offer, and that's opportunity plus time to do your work. And that's really what it's about. The opportunity to have and the time to do it. Plus, I mean, if the student is driven enough, they can get a lot accomplished.
So do you feel like traditional schools should be get rid of or ridden of?
No, but I think traditional schools should grow. I mean, one of the most successful schools, well, the most successful schools in the United States or anywhere about are say medical schools. Medical schools have classes, they have seminars, and they have on-hands work. And they're some of the best schools in the world are medical schools. And I think that we should do a lot more of that. Have not be medical, but use that type of scenario. I mean, we should have people, students doing hands-on work, have a class, have a seminar, and devote a lot of time to doing it. So I'm looking for a mixed bag.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically what we do down at AIS, because some of us take classes up here, but what I'm hearing is that these new students coming in next year, they won't be able to take these classes. So do you have an opinion on like?
Well, yeah. Remember, like any project, and that's what we are, a project. Our school's a project. We're constantly growing and changing, which is great about us. We have that flexibility. A lot of schools don't have that. So we're able to change and decide, okay, this is working, this is not working. This is how you learn. Students are going to come in and not take classes because we really want them to get an understanding of what project-based learning is first. They really not have to have a handle on how project-based learning is. I mean, you take students that come from traditional school for like 7-8 years, okay, they have one way to learn. And it's a very difficult process to get them out of that habit, to show them there are other ways that you can learn. And the first year, what we're going to do is really be sticking to project-based learning so they understand the whole process. And then, classes are used as a supplement. So it's just a way of training them.
It helps them with their projects as well.
Right. I mean, that's the whole point of a class, is to, complement your project. If you're learning something in a classroom, let's put it to use. Let's put it to real, and they'll be required to do that as well.
So, how informed will the new, kids coming in, parents, I don't know how to say it, the parents of the new kids that are coming, how informed will they be? How, involved will they be? Because some parents this year, I know that don't really know what's going on with the school.
They believe in getting their academics in there.
Right. Well, you see, that's the thing with our program, is that it's very important that the advisor, the student, and the parent works together. And we're constantly inviting parents in, talking to parents. They have to be involved. The parent really has to understand what's going on. They just can't drop their kid off at school for 7 hours, 6 hours, whatever, and just leave. And this year, and same as last year, we invite the parents in. We have the students come in, the new students, and we're giving them things to do as far as projects, see how well they work with a project, and see how involved their parents are going to be. But that's a vitally important part, is that parents should be involved. And if they're not, if the parent isn't involved, if the student just wants to come in and sit into a class, our program's not for them. Okay?
So what happens to the kids that, can't really, adjust to the whole project-based learning?
Well, first of all, what we do is, before they come in, we try to make sure that project-based is a good fit right now. Usually students that have done a lot of projects in grammar school are a really nice fit because they understand. But what happens is, if after a year, if they still haven't gotten it or didn't want to do it, we do suggest a more traditional school for them. And we encourage them.
Would they still be having the same amount? Because, for example, they came into AIS for freshman year, and then they were recommended to go back to traditional school. Would they still get the same amount of credits, the students who went to traditional school freshman year?
Well, if a student comes in the freshman year, and remember, our projects are broken down by the core standards. If you remember, we did the entertainment project. We did an entertainment, for those who don't know, we did an entertainment project that had math, science, social studies, all, and 21st century skills all within the project. Now, if they did all those sections of the project, they would get credit, the same as they would get credit in a traditional classroom. Now, if they didn't do the project, they wouldn't get credit the same way if they went to a classroom and didn't do any of the work. They wouldn't get credit.
Okay. So,
well, because I know a lot of people, they are going back. Well, we'll be going to a short break. Thanks for listening to the Dr. No Show
and WHITradio.org. We had an interesting interview with Mr. Dillon again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Joanne Woodward. Ever notice how many things in life happen in a circle? The seasons, revolving credit, hula hoops, the spinning of the circle we call Earth, and recycling. Together we've already made a difference. Sorting glass, plastic, separating cans, stacking newspapers. Now there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. A paperclip, in a more daring life, a 56 convertible. A cereal box, once your Sunday paper. It all goes back to the circle. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
For your free Buy Recycled shopping guide, call 1-800-2-RECYCLE. A message from the Ad Council and Environmental Defense. Finding the ways that work.
You going? Sorry about that. Welcome back to the Dr. No Show on WHITradio.org. We are here with Mr. Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes. And, would you like to start us off, Christine, with a question? Or anything you'd like to say?
Well, Mr. Dillon, you know that there's budget cuts and people getting laid off, and, like you said, when you were in the PR business, the reason why you got into teaching was because of the budget cuts and the.
Well, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. I mean, I had a choice.
Oh, you had a.
Okay, yeah, I had a choice. When it's, I don't want you to think, well, I got left off of one job and I took this because I needed a job. You cannot, and I'll stress this, you cannot be a good teacher or advisor if you go into this looking at it as a job. I love what I do, and I couldn't do this every day if I didn't love or have a passion for it. And that's how I hope to convey to the students, whatever you go into, please have a passion for it. When I left or downsized from the one job, I did have to make a tough choice because I was offered a position with another large firm, and they actually would have paid me almost 3 times as much as I made as a teacher starting. And I thought, well, what did I want to do? What did I really want to do? What did I really want to accomplish in my life? And I looked at it and I enjoyed the part-time teaching, so I said, well, let me go into this full-time. And I am so happy I did. There is time, I come to work, I enjoy what I do. Of course it's hard, it's tough. You deal with students all the time for various reasons, happy ones, mad at you for whatever. But I am very satisfied at the end of the day of what I do, and I do go home thinking, how can I help this student, or maybe I can do a little more with that student, as opposed to saying, "Oh, thank God the day is over."
Well, really, would you?
Well, how did you? Well, as I was getting to it, but how did you feel about the sports being cut?
Sports is a very important part to any school. It teaches, or supposed to teach, teamwork, drive, loyalty, and have friends. That's really what it's supposed to do. It's disheartening when they cut sports programs. I don't think they should have. But the reality is, with the budget, the way it is in the state of New Jersey right now, they're looking to cut back everywhere. But yeah, I don't think they should have.
But did you feel that the sports were helping those students who were part of the teams and were at project-based at AIS?
Well, you know what? It depends. It really depends on the student, and it depends why they came to AIS. Did you come to AIS because you wanted to learn about project-based learning? Did you come to AIS because you saw it as a great opportunity to focus and think this is great? Or did you just come to AIS because it was a place to sit while you can go play basketball or baseball or whatever? You have to make sure you come for the right academic reasons as well, because academics and sports go hand in hand. Yeah, I mean, you've seen what some of the things we stress down at AIS are time management skills, teamwork, working together, all these things that are in sports. But you have to make sure you transfer one to the other. But if you're just going to play a sport at any school, then you're just doing a disservice to yourself.
So I was thinking we got a little personal here. Mm-hmm. Like, do you have any hobbies?
Do I have any hobbies? Me?
You know, outside of the whole school thing.
Outside of the whole
sports.
Sports, or do you want me to talk about sports or my hobby? Okay.
Just talk about yourself.
Well, myself. Well, I do have a life, Jennifer, outside of school.
Like any sports?
Well, I love baseball. Baseball is one of my favorite sports.
They have a team for that.
Yes,
but it's not here anymore.
What, for old people like me to play?
No, here.
So do you have a favorite team?
Yeah.
I love the Mets. Of course.
Oh, right.
I wanted to get rid of my Yankee one.
Yeah, big Mets fan. But what I do, speaking of how, I mean, my passion is music. I love music. And as I think I've told you before in the past, I play the drums, and I love the drums. And I've anything, jazz, blues, rock, reggae, you name it, I love it all. Avid concert goer. Yeah.
You went to Bamboozle?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I should say for my age group.
Okay.
Bamboozle. No.
Well, I mean, Warped Tour is coming up, and that's pretty much for older.
Older people.
Mature kind of. Yes, people
who appreciate that.
Well, I like a lot of different types of music. For example, I'll give you an idea. Was it next week? I'm going to see an old heavy metal band called the Scorpions. All right, and which you may never have heard, of course, which actually was one of the songs I wanted to play for my students. But I'll bring it in next week. And that's on a Friday night, and then on a Sunday I'm going to a Saturday. I'm going to a country concert with Toby Keith. So I have very.
You watch the CMT Awards?
No, because I don't have it on my cable system, but I do. You like country music? No, you don't. But you know
what's much. I like Taylor Swift.
It's okay to me. I mean, only a few songs. Yeah. So, have you ever thought of pursuing any kind of career in music?
Well, I've used to play drums for I did the whole club scene, rock bands years ago. I used to play weddings and things like that, and that was kind of fun. But mostly right now, I enjoy it. I have a lot of friends who are musicians, and it's hard to make a living doing that, but it really is just mostly because it's fun.
Would you like to give a seminar on?
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to Dr. Klein about this. What I'd love to do is actually teach students how to read music and play drums. And one of my goals is to order shells and have, get down there and actually make them.
There were orders last year made in the beginning of the year. It's still not.
Right. Every year I put in several orders and for musical equipment and things like that. But unfortunately, with the budget cuts, we've talked about sports being cut. Well, no one ever says about the arts, which are very important, and they get cut just as well.
They're getting cut too.
Well, as far as for us anyway, I've tried to order equipment, and each time it was sent back.
Oh.
So, but I'll keep trying again. Sooner or later we get it.
We'll get it.
But we'll figure out something
Probably not
anyway.
Here, but yeah, we'll get it.
No. Well, there's other things we can do, because remember, what I love about project-based learning is that you have a problem. Okay, and this is how life is. You have a problem, and you have to solve it. And you have to realize you can't always rely on somebody or somebody else to do it. You have to come up and have the initiative and the creative ability to do it. So next year, what I plan on doing is I do have books on my own, and I can get donated drumsticks, and
That's cool.
And I can get things donated and set up, and we can actually get started. You don't need a ton of equipment. It's always nice to have, but again,
But it's not just for drums that you're going to.
No, I know some people that maybe we can get some donated stuff, and we could. I mean, you always hear this. Well, we'll make projects out of it. Well, but that's what life is: making projects out of.
And that
things.
is what the program is about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think this is the end.
This will be the end.
Yeah.
The end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to thank you for being here. It
My
was
pleasure.
Next time, come
interesting.
back.
Don't forget to tune in next time at the Dr. No Show on WHITradio.org. And I guess goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.
This has been a presentation of WHITradio.org.